If you're a fan of The Simpsons and you're a fan of video games, chances are the last 14 years haven't been too kind to you. Thankfully, this trend is about to come to a close. The latest Simpsons game is The Simpsons Hit and Run. It is effectively Grand Theft Auto meets The Simpsons. It's sort of an open-ended action-adventure game with a linear story mission, but also a lot of exploration elements. And it's probably the best Simpsons game ever created. You'll be able to play as 5 different characters in the game: Bart, Homer, Lisa, Marge Simpson, and Apu, the resident proprietor of the Quickie Mart. The plot of the game kind of follows this sort of convoluted sci-fi conspiracy theory weird sort of thing going on, where there's like mysterious vans and cars kind of popping up all over town spying on people. There's these weird mechanical bees with cameras in their head that are sort of showing up all over town. And there's this mysterious new cola on the market that is supposedly controlling the minds of Springfielders. As the 5 main protagonists of the game, it is up to you to solve the mystery of why evil cola, evil bees, and evil cars are showing up all over Springfield. Basically, what you'll be doing in the game is running around Springfield, collecting items, trying to destroy other cars, just following other cars. It's basically like all the driving missions from the Grand Theft Auto games kind of aped and sort of transported into the Springfield universe. There isn't a huge variety of missions in the game, but the way they're executed and the way the setup is designed for each one is unique in its own way, and it does a really good job of keeping things fresh as you go along. As this is a game based on the idea of Grand Theft Auto, there is a lot of driving in the game. Each character has one main car assigned to them. These are not the only cars that you can drive, though, and throughout the game you'll be unlocking a whole lot of different cars, either by buying them from random merchants that hang around the city, or you can unlock them through race missions or bonus missions. Cars aren't the only thing to be found in the game, though. One of the other things you can kind of unlock as you go is outfits for your character. There's 3 different costumes for each character in each level, and some of them tie into the mission structure, like you'll have to be wearing a certain outfit to do a certain mission. Others are just there for fun. While you may be driving around kind of destroying stuff as you go, collecting coins by breaking stuff in and around the level, you can't just go on wild rampages without any, basically any retribution whatsoever. You have a little meter on your screen that kind of tells you what your level of rampage is. Once that goes all the way up, the cops come after you, and you'll have to try and avoid them and outrun them for a certain amount of time. And if you get busted, it's a 50-coin fine. Well, the game does a really good job of designing this elaborate scenario around The Simpsons and actually makes it a lot of fun. The game isn't as polished as it should be. There are some little issues here and there with bugs, some of which actually can kind of break missions here and there. One instance we had was we were driving, trying to chase another car, and that car drove off a cliff. So the game respawned him on top of like a roof sort of near where he fell, and he couldn't get back on the highway to get to the destination that he needed to get to, and basically we had to restart the mission over again. This doesn't happen very often, and also you have the ability to restart missions at any time, and you'll just start from the beginning in your car. You won't have to drive back and restart the mission. It is just kind of a minor nuisance. It's not a huge deal. The rest of the game's kind of polished issues sort of lie in its graphics, which, while they look good, there are some problems. The game's camera system is actually very sloppy for the most part. When you're driving around, it's fine. The 3 camera views you have of your car are fine. But when you're walking around, the camera doesn't do a very good job of getting, like, whenever you get near a building or any object that sort of gets in the way of its set path, it'll kind of just start wigging out on you. There's also some frame rate problems here and there, mostly just when your car is damaged. The smoke effects that it uses to denote damage to your car kind of sort of make things look real choppy and unpleasant. These issues aside, though, the game does actually look pretty good. It doesn't look quite, as nice maybe as if, like, say, they'd cel-shaded the game or something like that. But overall, it's a good look. All the characters look like they're supposed to, and they all animate pretty well. What's really impressive, though, is the way they've designed Springfield. Springfield obviously is not an easy town to kind of model, considering they've just sort of changed the layout of Springfield time after time after time again. I mean, for instance, West Springfield alone is twice the size of Texas, so how do you model that? What they've done here is that they've actually broken Springfield up into 3 different sections. One is the suburban area where, like, the Simpsons house is. One is like the main downtown area, and one is like the harbor area. In each section, they've included a ton of detail and a ton of like weird little like locations and like gags and references and all this strange stuff that you just wouldn't even necessarily expect them to put into the game. It's all really well done, and they've done a fantastic job of just designing Springfield and making it a fun experience for any fan of the show, just kind of wander around, explore, and find new stuff in. The game also does a really amazing job with the sound. All the voice actors from the show reprise their roles for their characters, and in doing so, it really gives an air of authenticity to the game that you wouldn't get otherwise. The writing is also really, really sharp, so all the lines are delivered perfectly. The dialogue actually feels like an episode of the show. To sum up Simpsons Hit and Run, it is easily the best game to ever feature the Simpsons license, period. Its presentational aspects, its audio presentation, its basic overall look, just all the detail they've put into Springfield, and the fact that the game is just a lot of fun, all of it really make a great experience. You can kind of put aside the polish issues, they're not great, but at the same time, you can just ignore them because overall, it's a great game, and if you're a fan of The Simpsons, you should absolutely check it out.